I know. I'm sorry. I don't want to make you cry, but I think it's important because I think in this story, a lot of people get lost in the Darlie drama, if that's kind of what you want to
Yeah.
say, and they forget about what really happened to those two boys.
Yeah.
Especially the supporters. They're so focused on Darley this and Darley that that they very rarely mention what happened to the boys. Very rarely. You can go to Rowlett at Rest Haven just about any given time, and you can see that outside of a few Darley supporters, Devin and Damon's graves remains mostly undecorated. Absence does not make the heart grow fonder. In the case of Darley Routier, let's listen to a little bit more.
Yeah, we lost two very precious, pure, innocent little angels in all of this. And that definitely does get overlooked by people that cover the case or, news media or all the drama that goes on the social media sites. They forget that and they really just they bash my entire family, and that's painful. And I know that the boys would be very, very disappointed and upset with mankind for the way
they would be very, very upset with mankind when you are asked questions. Their aunt is asked questions about their death, and she lies and said that Darley's DNA was found on the outside of the sock. And what difference does it make? But what I'm here to do today is to clear something up, and I love to put shit in a stupid ass supporter's face. I love it. It's almost better than sex to me. So let me clear this up here real quick. Let me straighten this up. Let me get this out of here. Stop sharing. I don't want to share no more, man. So stop. Put myself. And here's my ugly mug. So, what we had the other day on episode 69 of RJP's Darley series is a load of crap. It's a load of crap. Sully, the expert detective, who did a whole series on Darley and got 30 views, decided that she wanted to bring up the criminal records and the addresses of Basia Jovell and Mary Rickles. And it shows that Basia had some drug charges after the crime. Pills, cocaine. So she put that up there, and I'm waiting for her to show something that happened before the murders. What kind of trouble was Basia in before the murders? Right? And there was none, even though Sully said something that says, oh, there was stuff from 96 too. But she didn't present it. She presented stuff that was after the crime. After the crime. That Basia had gotten into some trouble with it. And I'm going to talk about that episode real quick, then I'll go into some things that Rich said on other episodes. So I reached out to Basia, and I got some answers from Basia. Let me read them off to you. I'm not going to show. I can at any time, though, if I'm confronted on it. But right here, I'm not going to show. I'm only going to read the messages off. I'm not going to show what platform I'm speaking to her through. I'm not going to show text because I got phone numbers and stuff in them. But I'm going to read off what she said. This is from a couple days ago. Okay, this is after she gave me her phone number and explained to me some stuff. So I started out in the questioning part of it. We had a little chit chat, before uh, I asked her any questions, but she remembered me. She's leery of it because she got attacked last time she talked to me by Darley supporters. But I told her, I said, I would love to talk to you more about Darley and Devin and Damon. This is how I learned the case more. I know you love them. I do have some questions maybe you can help with. I think about them every day, and I hate when people lie about what happened to them. You were there, so you have more insight as to what happened. She says, and she's 70 years old now. She says, okay, what would you like to know? If I can remember, I'll tell you the truth. If I don't remember, oh well. But you're a good investigator, and I want a favor, and in return, I want to know about the guy who has been chatting with, and I want to make sure that he's not a scam. She wanted me to look up some guy she's been talking to. And I said, yes, ma'am, I can do a short background check on just about anyone. I'd have to go on what's available to find out about this man. What's his name, age, and location, and I'll see what comes up. Then I said, no man should be asking for money if he is. You don't meet man online, and him asking you for money at any point, or he's up to no good. That's true. He did ask me once for $50, but that was a long time ago. But somehow think it's some kind of scam too. I'll give you his. If you give me a little bit, I'll get his information. I'll send his picture, and I wanted to that picture of the person. So let me get that information, and I'll send it to you. Okay. Thank you. She's hard to understand in speaking. She's Polish. It's hard to understand her writing a little bit too. Okay, so in order, I get 2 questions for giving her this background check on somebody. So here's the questions that I asked. Darla claims that she was upset at you for supplying cocaine to Darren. She said she confronted you and Darren at your house, and that she told you that if you ever got that stuff for him again, she would call the police. Darley also claims you have told Glenn Mize's wife that you two were having an affair. I do not believe her for 1 minute. So what says you? And then I asked under that, I asked a little bit more. Did you ever see Darley use any of that? Because Rich swears up and down that Darley told him she's never used cocaine. Never. Also, you told me years ago, the night of the crime, that Darren and Darley were fighting in the kitchen. So you stepped outside and Damon was out there and he wanted to spend the night with you. And you asked him why. He looked at you and said, because mommy's being mean to me. Reading the trial testimony, it says you went over there that day to get your mom from work, but that you went in and Darley offered you a beer, but it doesn't say you went outside. Can you clear that up? And she did not answer that part. The part about stepping outside. That's when she starts to get upset, right? Just like she did last time. She got real upset when she mentioned going outside and talking to Damon, right? It's because it's called survivor's guilt. It's the same fucking thing Dana's got. He wanted to spend the fucking night with her that night. If she would have let him, he wouldn't be dead. Survivor's guilt. She didn't answer that question. She started crying about it. Then I said, no man should be asking for money. Here's her response to that. For one thing, I've learned about cocaine on the wedding night, after the wedding, at the party. That's the first time my circle came. Darren and Darling already in it. But after the wedding, I didn't see any at all. And the hospital, she told me they are going to find some things in her closet or whatever, and one of them was cocaine. So I'll stop right there for a minute. We always thought that it was the dildos that she sent Basia back to the house to get. But in talking to her more, she's afraid they were going to find cocaine in the house. She's talking about that gray tray with the small amount of white powder and a razor blade on it. That's what Darlie wanted Basia to go collect. Sully, you fucking idiot. In the hospital, she told me that they are going to find some things in her closet or whatever. And one of them was cocaine. Last time she just said the dildo. She didn't say anything about the cocaine, but she was saying one of them. All right. I guess so. They will do it. And when Darlie came to the shop one time, Darren did have cocaine, and he offered me, and I didn't want any. So she went in and she did it. So I don't understand, yeah, I tried it, but I'm later. I didn't even like it. So that is that. And yes, that when I went into the house, I think she's talking about Damon, but here, she misunderstood me. I never had an affair with Darren. I respect the marriage, but Darlie and Darren didn't respect the marriage together. She was flirting with people, and so was he. That's the first time I say that, but that's true. And yes, they did. I'm sorry. I have to stop. She doesn't remember, but she told me that before, that they were both kind of flirty. So it goes on. I said, no, Basia. She said you were having an affair with Glenn Mize, and that she told Glenn Mize wife on you, not Darren. Darlie swears up and down she's never done cocaine. The answer, or the response, no, she's lying, of course. I remember that man. He came into the shop and he started flirting with me. I'm going to stop it right here. What is Glenn Mize doing at their shop? It makes me wonder if Darlie was fucking around with Glenn Mize. Why is he at the shop? Why is she saying that she confronted Glenn Mize's wife about Basia having an affair with him? I asked Rich, I said, why would she do that? Basia's her friend and works for her. Why would she go and tell on her about anything? And why is he at the shop? No, she's lying, of course. I remember that man. He came to the shop and he started flirting with me. And he's telling me about his wife and her hysterectomy, and that I have told the wife that he was making a move on me. And she says, how can I know that, as well as he's telling me that you had a hysterectomy and you became a bitch? Here's what happened. Glenn Mize went to hitting on Basia Jovell. Basia Jovell told his wife on him. Not Darlie. You had a hysterectomy and that you became a bitch. So that's something that was true. She did have a hysterectomy, and I have talked with the lady. So she talked to Glenn Mize's wife, not Darlie. I was not flirting with people. I'm not hot and bothered after men. I never was. I could have had any man I wanted, but that's not me. I'm a lady. I was brought up to be a lady. But I did, after all this happened, sweetheart, I went berserk. I went completely berserk. Ended up in jail. But that's okay. That's all in my past. I finally curl out of that misery that she put on everybody. So that's her lie. And she done cocaine. She done pills. She smoked weed. We smoked weed all together. What the hell? I'm not ashamed of it. So I'm not done with her responses. But Sully decided that she's a fucking private investigator. And I'm not looking at my chat right now. She decided that she's a private investigator and she needed to get up on Rich's panel and dox this woman, bring up her drug use after the crime. And here we have the woman saying, yeah, I was miserable after losing Devin and Damon. I was messed up. And yeah, she said, but I don't do that anymore. So good job on that last live. Yeah, she said she went through it. She doesn't do it anymore. It's been 20 years. Said she went through it. Because of what? Because of Darlie. Because of her friend. And I'm going to ask her more questions. I said, I know Darlie is a big old liar. You can send me the information that you would like me to look up this guy to my email. Get her my email. Then responding to her response, I said, yes, Basia, some supporter put your criminal record up on YouTube, showing you had a few run-ins with the law after the crime. I responded to them that so what if Basia turned to drugs? She had to live with her losing Devin and Damon, and Darlie's actions affected many people. That's what Basia told me without me even wondering why she was into drugs. I had already said, well, Darlie messed up a lot of people. She had to witness her boys, these boys she loved. She had to, see them being gone. Maybe she did turn to drugs. And Basia is confirming that. Then she says, okay, thank you. We'll talk all some more time. And if it's easy to connect with me, Gmail, blah, blah, blah. She gave me her mail, which I already had it. And I said, yes, ma'am. Send me that info about the guy and I will get right on it. And then she finishes up with, that's just for today. I ain't done yet. Guys. You think that last Basia interview was horrible for the supporters? Wait till I do this one. Because now I have all the questions that I wasn't expecting an interview last time. It was just a phone call that I recorded. If you think the last one, it says, after the crime, this is what Darlie did to Basia. You fucking idiot, Sully. And yes, I went crazy. I wanted to die. But never miss of I made a mistake. I tried to help somebody, okay? And that is really true. And I had a bunch of pain medications because my spine broke. I got very ill, and what all that, and never medicated me on the pain. I'm only reading it the way I'm getting it. The pain medicine. I didn't know almost 20 years. I'm sorry. I'm crying 20 years of a tormenting side, missing the children that I love so dearly. I didn't care that I lived or died. Life was meaningless. My daughter was already in her own. I didn't care what happens. Just recently, about 30 years, when I went completely silent and being myself and prayed, but I always prayed. I'm a woman of God. I study. I just don't organize religions. I'm going to stop now because okay, sweetheart, I will send you the information and your Gmail. I gave you mine. Okay. So after Darlie, she went a little bit crazy, wanted to die. And then she had a terrible back injury, Sully. Just like you put that post on Reddit and you were kind of pissed off that you couldn't get a hold of your opioids when you moved from Colorado to Texas. You were pretty pissed off that you couldn't get a hold of your opioids because they're fucking known to be addicting. That's why I do mine 3 months on, 3 months off. 20 years of a tormenting side, missing the children that I love so dearly. I didn't care that I live or die. Life was meaningless. So she turned to drugs to escape the shit that Darlie fucking did to her. And you supporters bring up her drug addiction and her criminal record about with drugs on your panel. Good fucking job. Good job. I see you perplexed. Oh, that's not you. That's somebody else. No, never mind. Laura doesn't come over here that much. We just talk behind the scenes. But I wanted to make that perfectly clear. I don't care how many views I got on it. I don't care. Sully is a fucking idiot. Sully's a fucking idiot. Rich, you ought to be ashamed of yourself for ever bringing her up on your panel. Told you so.